Good afternoon and welcome to the September 10th meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have roll call, please?
Authority members: Friedman.
Here.
Mincy.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Parazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chair Sinani.
Here. Can we have the report, please?
The agenda for the September 10th, 2013 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, September 5th, 2013 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Next item.
Next item is oral communication, since there are no minutes for approval, and there were no cards submitted for oral communication.
Next item.
Are there any authority member or staff comments?
Staff, yes.
For housing, we received a correspondence from Mike Gatto, Assemblyman Mike Gatto's office, about the 12 Oaks retirement home sale, suggesting that there might be mechanisms by which we can either prevent or stall or look into the dislocation of the vulnerable seniors at that establishment. He suggested us introducing an emergency ordinance that would postpone that from happening while we look at alternatives. I first of all want to thank Assemblymember Gatto for taking an interest in this. It's something that's of concern to me and to our residents, and I would propose to my colleagues that we do enact an emergency ordinance and do whatever we can to protect this very vulnerable population that is about to be displaced to go who knows where.
I'd like to ask Mr. Cho to speak on this because we've talked on this issue before. Could you?
Certainly with appreciation and respect for the Assemblyman's insights into the proposed sale of the property. I don't know that what amounts to a moratorium is the most appropriate tool to be used at this point in time on this particular project. What we know from the market is that folks are doing due diligence, and part of that due diligence, without a doubt, is the disposition of the property and the residents of the facility. If there is a liability, legal or moral for that matter, that would preclude a potential buyer from acquiring the property and being able to develop it, presumably for low-density residential, which is what I think all you could do with that property, the prospective buyer is not going to want to have that cloud over the acquisition. As to the specific terms that were used to the Assemblyman's letter, I would defer to our city attorney as to what the law would suggest.
Members of the Housing Authority, the only thing I'd say is that actually it would take some council action, not the Housing Authority, so it would have to be raised at the council if we wanted to go forward. And there would probably be some significant legal limitations to doing that, but if the council wants us to look at that when we'll come back this evening, if you want to raise that, then that would be something we could look at and address to you if that's your desire.
Well, I would like council to take a look at it to at least discuss this. I won't be here tonight. I don't know if I can make that motion right now and see if anybody seconds it for council.
But we're not in council session right now. We do have, I guess you could do it as part when we convene the meeting. You can do it as part before we go to closed session. We can just take council comments out of order.
I will do it then and see if anybody seconds discussing it.
But this is a private sector discussion between the current owners, the proposed owners who are doing due diligence. They don't know what they can do. There's legal bounds, right, by state on relocating all those people. Certain conditions.
I presume there are. We haven't looked into it because it is a private transaction that's
I've
being
studied
proposed.
it to some degree.
But if the council, when we come later this afternoon, wants us to direct us to look at it a little bit further, we can do that along with CDD staff.
Okay, I'll bring it up at the next. Can I bring it up at the special council meeting?
I would say we have to start the closed session. When we get to the closed session, we just ask the council to take the council comments out of order, and if you want to raise it then, we can do that and see if you get a second for that.
Okay. I will do that then. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, and staff
And just so I'm clear, it won't be discussed in closed session. It'll just be before we convene the closed session.
Correct.
We'll have that discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. And do we have staff comments? Do we have comments from Mr. Zovak?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the Housing Authority, Peter Zovak, Deputy Director of Housing. And I'll ask GTV6 if they can put up the graphic, please, regarding Park Paseo. There we go. Community development staff would like to announce that Park Paseo will be opening up and replenishing their waiting list for future residency of the project. Park Paseo is a 98-unit affordable housing project for low-income seniors, 62 years or older, and/or low-income disabled adults. There is a 2-week opportunity to apply for the project, as applications will be available starting tomorrow, September 11th, and available through September 25th. Applicants must meet HUD income limits for Los Angeles County, which are no more than $29,000 per year for a single-person household and no more than $33,150 per year for a 2-person household. Residents are expected to pay approximately 30% of their adjusted income towards rent. There will be 2 ways in which potential applicants for the waiting list could obtain an application. The first is through the developer's website. They can be printed from the website, and the developer's website is www.thebgroup.org/parkpaseo. Or people can request one by phone, and the number to call is 1-866-306-3465. And to be included in the lottery drawing, applications must be postmarked no later than September 25th and mailed to the following address: Park Paseo, 501 West Glen Oaks Boulevard, number 34, Glendale, California, 91202. So we have a bulletin board running on GTV6 during the time of this 2-week period. We'll have flyers available in the Community Development Housing Division counter. We will send out the flyer and mail it out to applicants on our Section 8 waiting list as well. And we'll have it posted on the city's website, both on the main page and then within the housing page.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Question. Mr. Zobak, could you come back next week or perhaps the week after with a general overview on the waiting list, on the buildings that are available for seniors and waiting list movement? I know we're opening up, this is just the waiting list. Someone who applies and receives a selection to be on the waiting list, some sort of indication as to what length of time they could expect to remain waiting for this and other buildings, as occasionally we open up waiting lists for others. Is that something you have the data for? Or
we could. There wouldn't really be much to the report, unfortunately. There are no waiting lists open. This is the only one. The timing of it is not up to the city or even the developer. They just happen to reach a small number of people left on their waiting list at Park Paseo. Each affordable housing project has their own waiting list, and at certain times it comes up to renew and replenish the list. Whenever any waiting list becomes open for application, we make every effort that we can to notify the community of that availability. Most recently, the Elevate project, density bonus project, we are waiting for a total, but we think that the number of applicants for the 14 affordable density bonus units might be in excess of 4,000.
Wow.
And so they're still processing. And so I have no update to give you yet on that particular proposal. But once we do have some solid numbers and some next steps, I was planning on coming back and just making a quick announcement for the benefit of the community. So unfortunately, if we did prepare a report, I don't know how extensive it could be, other than say that we can't control when various waiting lists come open. We're just notified at certain times by the developer. Some of the projects, the waiting lists and process for reopening are dictated by HUD, not by the city. Other times, we do assist the developer in reopening these waiting lists and have more direct input in some projects more than others. I can certainly look at putting together, if not a report, maybe just a quick memo that kind of highlights the projects that are out there that do have waiting lists, that at some point in the future the waiting list may or may not come up.
Because I'm sure we all get those. I get those questions. I'm on the waiting list. Great. When do I start packing? Sort of thing. And it's,
And we warn everyone that inquires with our counter as well, don't start packing, because those waiting lists very rarely move. People are not moving out of these projects unless necessary.
There might note that there are several brand-new projects that are in the works now.
Correct, and for those projects that are new construction projects, we would look at maybe probably sometime between 12 to 14 months out as the projects get near to completion before we'll start up any type of marketing and application process for those.
But he said the Elevate, the Broadway lofts, for 14 units, there were 4,000 applicants.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
We're guessing.
that's-
We're still waiting for a final number, but
Maybe
we're estimating
more.
it to be in and around 4,000, which is a very large number. And they're still trying to get through and input applications and get us information, but we'll report that back to you for that one.
All right. No other questions for Mr. Zovak? No. Thank you. Next item?
Isn't,
Yes, Mr. Mincy.
humanities?
Was Sony, were you going to make a comment? Yeah.
Oh, under oral communications, I thought that was under staff presentation or comments. So you can come up. Sure.
Good catch, Don.
Good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I have to ask you a favor. I'm Sonia Yates from Habitat for Humanity. One of you has my folder that has a yellow tablet in it, and I would love to trade you if you happen to have that version.
What's it worth?
Some comments. A little yellow tablet. Ah, Frank has
Here
it.
is a so-and-so.
Sorry, but
Must be a...
this is a key to
How
the
dare you.
castle. I'm keeping it.
Thank you very much for that.
Where's it say that?
I appreciate that. Since I was last here in July, discussing the Chestnut Homes with you, and you gave approval for the affordable housing agreement and the loan of $400,000 for us to acquire the property, lots has happened, and the escrow for that property closed on time in mid-August, and our architect has moved swiftly to prepare all that is needed by planning staff for variances, and now they're working on the design review process. Meanwhile, we and your staff have completed the marketing plan for this project, and what you have in front of you is a folder that has some work products in it that you can take a look at. There is a press release about this development that went out last week, and I've just spoken with the Glendale News Press rep so that we were sure to get the dates of the informational meetings, which are at the end of this article and on all of the brochures. That starts on September 26th, continues on October 3rd, and on Saturday, October 5th, so that all persons who are interested in finding out more about this great homeownership opportunity will be well informed. You will see that there is not only an English flyer, but a two-sided flyer in Armenian, a Korean version, a Spanish version, and a version in Tagalog. We have all of that posted on our website, and so does the city, and flyers are going out regularly to all of the key social service agencies and employers within the city of Glendale. We've also made arrangement for paid ads in the key publications that reach the largest minority groups within the city of Glendale. So with that, if you have any questions or suggestions about the marketing effort, I would be happy to respond.
No questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yates. Next item?
No new business.
I'll move we adjourn.
Second?
Okay. We're adjourned at 3:20.